Good morning, Pat. How are you? Hi, Martha. Oh, got quite a few people watching already. Yay! And the hearts are going up. Hi, Jane. Nadine, good morning. Hi, Nancy. And Vesta, good morning. Tony, thank you for sharing. Hi, Karen. Oh, this is fantastic. Yay. So excited. Hi, Lisa. Hey, congratulations on being drawn to be our cover model for the page. At least your card is. Hi, Jane. You're still in your PJs. Oh, I wish I could be. Yay. This is fantastic. I just love Thursday mornings. This is such a sweet distraction from, just from anything. I look forward to Thursdays with everyone so much. Let's see. Oh, Lisa says she got so excited. Hi, Pam. Trying to catch both screens as things are scrolling too fast for me. I almost don't want to touch the keyboard because Facebook has this way of making like comments disappear and then you can't get them back. So I'm almost afraid to touch the keyboard of the laptop, but trying to watch as names scroll by on my phone. So happy Thursday, everyone. Pat's got ice in St. Louis. That is on the way to Ohio. I think later today, by tomorrow, we could have 2 to 4 inches of snow with some ice mixed in. I'll tell you, it's crazy. We'll have all this snow, and then it warms up to the 50s, and the snow disappears. We have that for a couple of days, and then we got snow again. So I am so glad to see so many people on here this morning. Hi, Kathy. So, really, a cute project for today. I had shared the inspiration, and then I also looked at what the instructions to make this quilt block was, and I'm like, oh no, we're not cutting that many pieces. So I just had to look at it and saw a design within the design and made it a lot easier. And what I like about this card is there's no sentiments on the front. I think this really stands alone. The design stands alone, and you can put your sentiment on the inside, making this a great note card, or just have a stack of them ready, and based on your colors and the feel of the papers that you used, it would make a pretty sympathy card. It can be a happy birthday, get well, thinking of you. And I love botanical cards. Anything with greenery and flowers can just cover so many opportunities to send someone a card and let you know that you're thinking about them. Hi, Lori and Janice. Hi, Peggy. Wow, this is so exciting. Okay, so I am going to flip the camera around. There's a couple things. I'm going to share the products that I used in these cards. I do want to share, give you a look at the mini die cut and emboss machine, because in the month of March, it's going to be 20% off, and there's a select number of bundles and dies that fit the mini machine, and they will be 20% off too for the month of March. So I just want to show that real quick, and then we're going to jump into the project. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Sharon. Okay, so let me, again, Facebook has changed the little icons around when you're doing a live. So just bear with me. I'm going to flip the screen. Okay. Bring things closer to me. And again, now I gotta flip it the other way. Okay. But I want this even a little closer to me. Okay. There we go. And that is supposed to be like that. Okay. Okay, just gotta get situated. Tony says she recognizes that little honey bear. It's just so cute that I don't want to use it yet because it's in my, surrounding me at my craft table are things that make me happy. And so I keep those things with me for the longest time, just because when I look at them, it helps me remember a really special moment. So that little teddy bear is probably going to sit there a long time, Tony. So anyway, for those who are new, my name is Julie Heights. I am the chirpy card maker of quilts and more, and I live in Northwest Ohio, specifically Toledo, Ohio. So I want to welcome you to watching this Facebook Live. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. The February host code is right here. If there's anything I can help somebody with in placing an order, if you don't have a demonstrator already, please let me know. I would love to work with you. Let me just bring in the mini machine and let you see that first, because this is like the most adorable little machine you have ever seen in your life. Now, naturally, it's a mini, and it's not going to, you can't use your embossing folders that are like 4 by 6 inch or 6 inch squares. This is a mini. This is your little grab and go, something small that doesn't take up too much space. And it's going to be 20% off. It retails right now for $60, so 20% off of that. And you get your plates with it. It does fold up just like the regular stamp or the die cut and emboss machine. But look how stinking cute this is. And I put off getting one for a while because I have the big one and it covers all my needs. But I have found that this is really nice to have beside me when I'm doing little things, so that I don't have to grab the bigger machine and then splay out everything on top of everything that I've got out. So, cute little machine, the month of February. It'll be on sale. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Celebration is ending next Monday. So if there's anything in the celebration brochure that you're wanting, you may want to be putting your order together. Those freebies are while supplies last. So if there's a lot of people trying to get in their last minute orders, some of the promotional things could be gone because they're while supplies last. Okay, so here are my 2 cards for today. I wanted to bring out another color in the designer series paper that I used. Now, what I found is I could combine, this is in the mini catalog. This is called Artfully Composed. It's all botanicals. Beautiful botanicals. And I have this Simply Marvelous paper pack. This is a 6x6 in the celebration brochure, and I hadn't gotten into it yet, but I realized that like this color here is the coastal, what they say is coastal cabana. Yeah. But it's got so many different variations of color in there that it goes with the just jade that is in the Artfully Composed. You really cannot tell the difference because there's so many different hues and shades going on here. I found that this bumblebee is mentioned in both of these paper packs. What Stampin' Up! Does for you is they give you the colors that coordinate with the paper, making it very easy for you to plan your projects. So the bumblebee was in both. Flirty Flamingo is in both. But what I did in the pattern that I chose, let me show you the bigger version. This is the designer series paper that I'm working with. And here's the bumblebee dots. So what I did with this card was I used the bumblebee marvelous paper. And I used the side that is really fluid. I loved the movement that was going on there. And this is the opposite side. This is beautiful as well. But I wanted to get the movement of the paper because if you notice, the botanicals all look like they're swaying. So I wanted to keep the movement going. So I'm using that side of the marvelous paper. And then my die cut is from the Pierced Blooms die set, which is my favorite. The background, notice I did no quilting on my pieces here. I didn't do any embossing. I left them a very flat look. The only thing I did was I ran my 4 by 5¼ inch piece of basic white, that layer. I did use the stitched Greenery die. If you love making quilt cards and you love that stitched look, this is a die that you really need. I realize it's a little pricey. It's one big die for the cost of what other bigger collections with multiple pieces have. But this really is a good die to have in your toolkit of quilt card making supplies, whether that be embossing folders or other die cuts that have a stitched effect to them. This really is something that you should look to putting within your collection. So it is called the Stitched Greenery Die. This will not fit in your mini, but definitely something that just gives a really pretty look. And you'll notice, or I have noticed, that my stitching takes on the color of whatever cardstock is behind it. This stitching looks it looks like the dark, the Evening Evergreen. And this has that softer, this is soft succulent because I had run out of Just Jade cardstock. So no, it's not soft succulent. This is mint macaron. But it just gives a softer green stitching to it. Okay. And then I just went through embellishments and picked out some dots and some rhinestones that I thought enhanced the design. On this one, I did have this botanical here, but it did not pop. So I took it off and I put a botanical in the Evening Evergreen to really balance out the dark color going through these 3 pieces. This already had glue on it, so I just stuck it on the inside of the card because I had to do something with it. And the first card I did, I thought that the old olive really lent to standing out with the color choices here. So the block, let's talk about the block. The inspiration piece, the designer called it a modified log cabin. And what I changed was her little square in the middle was actually a 4-patch also. We would have been dealing with very tiny cuts, and so I just went with a 1/2-inch square of designer series paper in one color. I didn't cut out designer series paper and the basic white like the other squares. And really what I did is when I looked at the pattern, I didn't see a log cabin even modified. I saw a 4-patch within a 4-patch within a 4-patch within a 4-patch. So I thought, well, this is a 4-patch with a twist, because all we're doing is we're taking our 4 patches and we're twisting them to where the opposite color is within the other square. Okay, so this is really simple. So let's bring in what we're going to need to make this card. I've got my card base, which I chose to do a 4 1/4 by 11, scored it at 5 1/2. I like my card to stand like that. So that's my card base. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white. That will be my insert. For the back, I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer series paper that is the same as the squares that I will use on the front that lay underneath the quilt block. Okay. And then we've got the 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white that goes on the front. Layering pieces, I stuck with whatever my card base color was. So we've got this layer that is a 2 5/8 inch square. We have 2 pieces of cardstock that these are gonna layer on, and I believe they're 1 7/8. Yes, because these are 1 3/4. So these would be 1 7/8. They are going to layer with our designer series paper. And let me just get all of this out of the way so I can continue showing you the pieces that we're using. We have the biggest 4-patch. These are 1 1/4 inch squares. So I have 2 designer series paper squares, and I have 2 basic whites. Then the 4-patch that fits inside here, these are 3/4 inch squares of the same papers. And then I have just that 1/2 inch square piece that will sit right on top in the middle. I'm covering it with a botanical, so you're not going to really see it anyway. Okay, and then I have my little button for the back of my card. So let's start putting our quilt block together. I drew on a piece of grid paper a 2 1/2 inch square. Now what I'm going to do with the pencil, I can't seem to pick it up, is I am just going to draw my 4-patch in. So half of this 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 is 1 1/4. So that's 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just going to draw in my squares. And this is, I'm just drawing in a reference point to where I'm going to lay down my my pieces of paper, okay? So then what I'm going to do, this first part is easy. You can actually apply your glue right to your grid paper because you can see the design. So I'm just going to lay down some glue. Now come on, you are a brand new bottle here. Let's try this again. Okay, so it's laying down some glue. You don't want to go too heavy. You don't want your glue smushing out from underneath. And you can start with either your basic white or whatever color you chose. I'm just going to start with the Designer Series paper. And I'm going to bring this towards me a little bit so that I can see better. What's really important is that the lines here and here are straight. If you've got any cardstock or Designer Series paper going outside of your boundary, that's okay, because you're gonna square this up and you're gonna trim that off. But you want your lines to be straight and within where they need to be, more in the middle. So now let's put a white one next to it, because our 4-patch is 2 white and 2 Designer Series paper. Again, I want to have a nice straight line here so that these 2 pieces butt up to it really smoothly. And again, anything that is outside of my margin is going to get cut off, so don't worry about that. The one other thing that I will say is when you are working with white cardstock or any light colored cardstock in your quilt making, make sure your hands are clean. If you get glue on that, you can always use an adhesive eraser to get it off, but it's just best practice to try and keep everything clean from the get-go. Now here, this block here, we're going to use the white. And I'm going to just butt that right up to the piece that's on top. What I really like, okay, so quilters will get this. So when you're sewing 2 pieces together and you have pressed your seam allowances to one side or the other and you're getting them to lock, have you ever gotten a thrill of, like, when you put those fabrics together, those seams like lock in? You just get the feel of when they lock into each other. That way when you sew, you know all your points and your corners are going to match. Well, for me, I get a real thrill out of that when I'm sewing. But what I love about this is I can actually feel the snap, so to speak, when I put my pieces together and they just fit in there really nice. You'll actually hear it kind of like snap. Oh, I couldn't hear it that time, but when I moved it into place, you could just, sometimes you can feel it, but you can usually hear it kind of like snap right into place. That way you know you got everything where it needs to be. So there's our first 4-patch. Okay, so here's our first large 4-patch. Now, we've lost our grid. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to put glue on the back of these are the smaller pieces. I'm just going to put some glue on the back. And now we're going to put the opposite color on top of our 4-patch, but we're going to be working from the middle. So I'm going to lay this one right. Just follow along. These don't have to be super perfect. Now I'm going to put the glue. And I'm going to put this one right here. When you're done making your quilt block, go back and look at the pattern that was for the fabric quilt block. Look how many pieces were in that pattern to come up with what we're doing right here. I was like, there has got to be an easier way, and they will all think I'm crazy if I have them cutting 20 different pieces out. And so now I'm just going counterclockwise, and I'm going to put this one right here. There, I felt the little snap when it lined up. And then we'll put in our DSP. I am working on a PDF. It won't be ready today, but I have all the pictures taken. So I am working on that to add to the file section in the group, Quilt Cards and More. Okay? So there, now we have our 4-patch within our 4-patch. The only other little square to put down is our 1/2 inch. Now, if you want another 4-patch within that 4-patch, then you're going to cut 2 1/4 inch squares of designer series paper and 2 1/4 inch squares of the basic white or whatever color you're working with within your quilt block. Okay, I just thought this was easier. Trying to take shortcuts when you can so that you're not working with such tedious little pieces. And I am just going to eyeball this. I am just going to eyeball it and lay it down right in the center. Okay, so how's that so far? Hi, Tammy. Yes, Tammy, my grid paper, now I got this in a tablet at either Meijer or Target, but yes, it is 4 inches per square. That is the side that I'm working on. The other side of the paper, these are 5 inches per square. Makes it harder to make your numbers divisible by, so I use the 1/4 inch ones. And Stampin' Up! Grid paper is perfect. These are 1/4 inch squares, so these are 4 to an inch also. Okay? I have a pad of grid paper because I'm always cutting pieces off, and I don't want to keep cutting up my paper that helps protect my area when I'm working. So if you go into the school supply section, you'll find the grid paper, and it's usually 4 squares per inch on one side and 5 per inch on the other side of the paper. Okay? Alrighty, so let me see if there's any other questions. Oh, Pat, now you're getting sleet. Oh, I dread that because that's supposed to be coming our way. We have a tree in the neighbor's yard that is just dying off. And anytime we get wind or ice or heavy snow, we're just like waiting for another big branch to fall. So I dread that. Hi, Joanne. Joanne treated herself to the Stitch Greenery Die, and she loves it. Absolutely. Okay, so, yeah, Sandy likes to use her Stampin' Up! Small grid paper pack. Is that for the Stamper would that be for the Stamparatus? Because I have a Stamparatus, but I don't have the smaller paper. Oh, and Michaeline's got Sunshine and 80s. Let's all just go move to where Michaeline is at. And Lisa is actually printing her grid paper for now. I had seen where somebody had posted a like a website or something that you can go to print that off. Good to know. Gloria, you're watching from Armstrong, is that British Columbia, Canada? Oh my gosh, I'm so honored that you are watching and joining in today. That is amazing. Great. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's set this aside for now. Just let that glue have a chance to dry, okay? Let's start putting our card together. Now, here's my card base. I wanted to remind you of a little tip that if you want to get more bang for your buck with your cardstock, because I'm going to be putting a piece, a good sized piece of designer series paper on the back, and I'm also putting a layer of white on the inside, now would be the time to take a punch or a die and cut out whatever you want from the middle, because we're covering it up. It'll just help your cardstock go further, okay? Let me show you that for those who are new. So I grabbed a couple of punches, and while I have it out, you know, I'm just going to show you one, but I'm going to go all the way into my punch. And now I've got a mat for if I want to make a tag longer, I've already got a background piece. So get the most of that you can out of places that you're going to cover them up anyway. Okay? So I just wanted to show you that. So let's put our backing on. I like to put designer series paper on the back of my cards, because honestly, I can't use the designer series paper up fast enough solely on quilt cards. You've noticed we use little pieces. And so I look at this as like the backing of my quilt, because the front of my quilt is made up of a lot of different little pieces. Sometimes, unless you've got a really beautiful border, do you ever get to really appreciate all of your fabric. So my bold print's going to be my backing to my quilt card, okay? Now let's go in and let's put our insert down. And I'm staying to the outside because I just want to, I guess it wouldn't matter now that my background or the backing's on there. It covered that hole. But if that first initial piece, I don't really want to get glue into that. So there's the inside. Now I have two die cuts here, and whichever one I don't use on the front, then I will just embellish the inside of the card with, okay? But I don't want to do that right now because I haven't decided yet. So let's go ahead and put this layer down. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to put it down, but there was something I wanted to show you about this beforehand. And it's going to be okay, but normally when I've been doing this, I did it before I glued it down. But it's going to be okay. it was just a tip that I wanted to show you. I have to hold pieces up right in front of me so that I don't get wonky. And I still will end up wonky sometimes. Okay. And I really want to give this a good press because the embossing, so to speak, like on the other side of this where the stitching is, you really got to make sure the glue gets down into those little crevices and takes hold on your paper. Okay, so the little tip I was going to give you for placing your two background squares and knowing that they're centered is, this is a 4-inch piece, right? This is 4 inches. So I'm going to line up this edge. Here I'm using 6 inches, but all I need is the line. 6 to 10. 6 to 10 on just the white. Half of that is 8 inches, which just happens to be the dark line on my Stampin' Up! Grid paper. And what I'm going to do, you're not going to see this pencil mark, so don't worry about that. I am going to line that up, and I'm going to draw a line, the halfway point all the way down. Like that, okay? And I'll show you why next. Let's finish putting our layers together. Let's bring in our designer series paper and the 2 layers that go with that, and let's layer them up. Just want a nice little even border all the way around. This is not a large border. The reason why is I had to make all of these pieces fit on the front of the card. Okay, so we've layered those 2 pieces. Now if we bring back in our card and make sure I'm going the right way. This line here, my points want to fall on that line, and you're going to go all the way up to the top. So this point is on the line, this point is on the line, and then you'll glue down your second piece with your points on the line, and sometimes they might overlap. Just make sure they overlap in the middle because you're going to cover that up anyway. Okay, so then glue down your pieces, kind of know which way, which orientation, as far as if that designer series paper has a color that you want to be peeking out. Okay. And then we will glue this one down. There we go. That line just helps you know that you are in the center of your card and helps keep everything balanced, okay? So you have your 2 squares. Now what we need to do is, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to bring in my little trimmer because we need to go back to our quilt block and we need to cut off all the excess grid paper. Now if you cut your grid paper to exactly 2.5 inches square, you're going to want to at least put it in your trimmer and make sure that everything is straight. So I'm going to line up the left side of my block with my 2.5 inches on my grid here. And I'm just going to flip it around and get the other side, because I know that this side is perfectly straight. And then just continue going around and getting the grid paper off. Now that one I can shave a little bit more off of. Just a wee bit. That's why I love these little guillotine trimmers, no matter what brand you have. They're so sharp and they can clean up just shards of an edge. I love them. I really wish Stampin' Up! Would add this little trimmer to the catalog. Okay, so we've trimmed and squared up our block, and now we are going to glue that to that layering piece there. Okay. Now when I put this on my card, I like my botanical to be across the white, because the white really pops out from the background. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Okay, so here's my card. I am going to keep that in mind as far as like where, you know, you might like it to where your greenery is going through the 3 colors right through the middle, but I don't think it really, there's nothing to pop. And that's just my preference. So I want to make sure that my botanical is going like this. So when I lay my quilt block down, I want these 2 middle white squares to be going like north and south, okay? I am going to flip this over because I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. Oh, got to start a new sheet. That's always fun. I like to hide my dimensionals, so I don't put them all the way out to the edge. I like them to hide. As long as it's still giving the quilt block some stability, I really don't have to put them all the way out to the edges, because I don't want somebody to see them. Okay. Now, when I flip this back over, I want my white to be going north and south. And then it's just a matter, you know what, I'm going to turn this, because for whatever reason, I feel like I'm more confident about being centered. And I'm just eyeballing it. And then I'll just gently put it down, and I'm okay with that. And now you've popped up your quilt block, and now what's left is putting our greenery on. And I think now that pops, and it helps bring out the green in there. So I'm going to go with, I just think that looks too much of the same color, because this Evening Evergreen is like a blue green, and I'm just thinking there's too much blue. That's just my thinking. So I'm going to go with this one. So I'm just going to put a little glue on the back of my leaves. And then I'm going to have my stem coming from that corner, just going across the white and just falling outside of my 4-patch. Just got to give this a press because it's a die cut. You got to make sure that glue is making contact with your cardstock underneath. Just keep pressing it down. This one here, I think I'll just go ahead and have that coming, maybe, I think I'll have it coming down from that corner up there. Since I have it, I might as well finish off, put a little something special on the inside too. Now you could use a piece of your designer series paper that you chose and put a strip of that on the inside of your card to give it some more interest. But since I had this extra die cut, I'll just put that there. Make sure that is down. And then all we've got, oh, we got to put our button, put your signature button on the back of your card so that whoever your recipient is remembers it and sees that you made it. Okay, now all we've got left to do is put some bling on it. So I was kind of anticipating what I might want, and then looking through my stash. Now these are the polished dots. They're kind of pale. I mean, pale papaya is one of the colors that will work. I could use those. I could use the genial gems and use either one. And the champagne rhinestones look real similar to the bumblebee pale papaya dots. So I've already used the champagne rhinestones on that one, and this was the genial gems on that one. So let's just do something different, and let's bring in the polished dots. That way I'll have one of each. Looking at these, I'm sure I can color these with our blends and be able to customize a color also. Those are clear. So you would be able to color those with your alcohol markers and create your own. Let's see. Let's use these. Just got to figure out what size we want. I think I'm going to try the larger ones. And I'm just going to place 3 of them. The eye is pleased by odd numbers. And so I've been thinking about whether I would want to put one like somewhere in the, let's try, I've been wanting to do this. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But let's go there. And then maybe do, instead of making a triangle, what if like up here in this corner, I just put another large one, and then let's pick out a smaller one to go right next to it. That's a look that I've been seeing people do and I like. So let's just try it. So 2 little tiny embellishments there, and then one in the center. So our 4-patch with a twist quilt block is done, and that is your card. Again, I think that this stands on its own really well, that I really don't need to put another embellishment or embellishment. I don't really need to put my sentiment on the outside. Totally up to the person, you know, make your card reflect you. But don't stress too much if you're wondering, where am I going to put my sentiment? This will stand alone, and you can save that for the inside. Okay, so I hope that you liked this. Really, these are quick and simple, and you can be using up your scraps. So it will be really interesting to see the different designer series papers that you chose. Maybe you didn't go with white. Maybe you went with a solid color. Just, I would suggest that make sure that there's contrast between the two papers so that they stand out on their own. They don't blend too much and you can't see the 4-patch. Hi, Holly. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad that you all have enjoyed this. I can't wait to see your cards. Please share them in the group, Quilt Cards and More. Oh my goodness. I just looked at the computer. There's 32 people watching. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. That's awesome. Okay, please share your cards. Next Wednesday, I will put all the names on a wheel and spin, and it may be your card that graces the cover photo for the group for a week. Lisa's been on here watching, so congratulate Lisa on her card being our new cover for the week. Hi, Patricia. And just thank you for being here with me. We're ending a little bit early, but I guess that's okay. Gosh, I'm just so excited that so many are here today. Like I said, I am working on a PDF that will go in the file section. I'll be coming back on live Monday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, to do February's Barn Quilt cards, and then reveal. No, they're February's cards. I will be revealing March's design Monday night also for the next installment of the Barn Quilt Block of the Month cards. So there you go. I can't wait to see what you do. You always blow my mind with your interpretations of what you see. So I can't wait. Everybody have a really blessed day.